The day he fired me, my boss was talking to his 22-year-old assistant about digital transformation. I was 54 years old and not up to date with technology. But that young assistant knew exactly who to call when systems crashed, and all she could do was reboot the computer. My name is Robert Martinez. I am 54 years old, and I have been working in the IT department at Techno Solutions for 30 years. Exactly 30 years. I started here when this company was a small software company. Now it was a technology giant of 500 people. And I was now unnecessary. It all started 3 months ago when our new boss Michael Davidson arrived. He is 35 years old, an MBA graduate, and a type of guy who likes to squeeze the words disruptive innovation and digital transformation into sentences. In his first meeting, he said, "We will change the DNA of this company." As if the company is an organism. Michael had his assistant Jessica with him. She was 22 years old, a computer engineering graduate, the kind of person who had an opinion on everything but no experience. Michael called her his digital consultant. I called her his boss baby, of course, to myself. Up until that day, the day I was fired, I had never had a problem at work. In 30 years, I had never had a single customer complaint. The systems worked, the problems were solved, everyone was happy. But apparently that wasn't enough anymore. "Robert," Michael had said on the morning of that fateful day, "we need to talk to you." He called me into the conference room. Jessica was there too, laptop in hand. I sat across from Michael, fearful for the first time in 30 years that I was going to lose my job. "Robert, we love you," Michael began. I knew this sentence would not go over well. "But we are growing as a company. We are changing. We need more dynamic, modern solutions." "What do you mean?" I asked, even though I actually knew the answer. Jessica leaned forward. "Robert, your experience is invaluable, but we need to focus on cloud computing, AI integration, machine learning, etc. We know these are not areas you specialize in." Cloud computing, machine learning. He said these words as if he were casting a spell. He was still in middle school when I was building these systems. "Jessica is right," Michael said. "We need young, dynamic, tech-savvy staff in our digital transformation process. You are a great person, Robert, but this position is no longer right for you." That's when I realized. My 30 years of experience, my handling of thousands of problems, my knowledge of the company's systems inside and out. None of that mattered. What mattered was being young. "Your severance pay is ready," Michael said. "We've made an offer worth more than 6 months' salary. I think it's quite generous." Generous. He thought my 30 years of life were worth 6 months' salary. "Let's give you time to pack your things," Jessica said as if it were her decision. "You have until tomorrow." When I got home that evening, I told my wife, Linda, about the situation. In all our 25 years of marriage, I had never seen her so angry. "30 years!" he shouted. "You gave 30 years to that company, even on the night the children were born. You went to the company at midnight for their systems." He was right. The night Michael was born, while I was in the hospital with Linda, the company's central server crashed. I went alone and got the system back on its feet in 6 hours. My boss called me, "Robert, you're a hero." Now I was a dinosaur. The next day, I went to the company to pack my things. My 30-year career fit into 3 cardboard boxes. Photos, awards, thank you letters from customers, all of them were now relics of the old era. Jessica came over to me as I was loading my stuff into my car. "Robert, I'm sorry it happened this way," he said, but there was no genuine sadness in his voice. "But you know, business is business." "Of course," I said. "Jessica, here's some advice. These systems aren't as simple as they seem. If there's a problem—" "Don't worry," he interrupted me. "Everything is under control. Our new systems are much more advanced." Advanced. Sure. 3 days passed. Tuesday morning, while Linda was getting ready for work, I was at home trying to update my CV. It was hard. How do you market yourself as a 54-year-old experienced IT professional in today's world? Just then my phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. Face! Robert, thank goodness you answered. It was Jessica's voice, but it wasn't the confident, know-it-all Jessica. She sounded panicked. Jessica? What happened? Robert, the system. The system is down. Everything. CRM, ERP, mail server. We can't access anything. Michael is going crazy. Clients are calling. We can't see anything. I smiled inwardly. What a shame. So why are you calling me? Aren't I someone who can't keep up with technology? Robert, please. Now is not the time to argue. I need you to help. Help? But I'm old and can't keep up with the digital transformation, remember? Robert. And you have advanced systems, cloud computing, AI integration. These are not things I can understand with my old school mind. Robert, please. Michael wants to talk to you. Michael? Sure. Give him the phone. A silence. Then Michael's voice came. But this time it was not the confident, all-knowing Michael. Robert, buddy. How's it going? Buddy. He didn't say buddy. The day he fired me 3 days ago. Good, Michael. I'm planning to retire. How are you? Robert, we have a little problem. The systems are a little unstable today. Is he unstable? I said. Jessica said he collapsed. Well, yeah, technically it's kind of down. Robert, where's the documentation for those advanced systems? We can't find anything. Ah, the documentation. I had documented everything carefully for 30 years. Every system, every configuration, every password. It was all in files, in archives. But of course, you had to know where to find it. Documentation? For your advanced systems? Robert, please. Our clients are going crazy. All of Morrison Industries' data appears to be gone. They have a $50 million contract with us. Morrison Industries. I had set up their system 5 years ago. It took 3 weeks. I had planned every detail. Backup systems, failover protocols, recovery procedures, everything was there. But of course you had to know these things. Michael, I said, I don't work here anymore, remember? You fired me. Will you come back temporarily as a consultant? I can offer good money. How good is it? $500 a day. Consulting fee. $500. Twice my daily wage. 1,000. I said. 1,000 mu? Robert, that's $1,000, Michael. And a 10-day minimum warranty. Until the systems are fixed. A silence. In the background, I heard Jessica whisper. Tell him yes. Okay, Michael said. $1,000. When can you come? I can't come now, I said. I can be there at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But I have conditions. What conditions? My office will be returned. I will not be working in the same room as Jessica. And only I will have access to the documentation. Robert, these conditions are a bit. Michael, I said. Explain the situation. Everything crashed at 9 a.m. yesterday, Jessica said, getting up from her computer and walking toward me. The CRM system, the email server, the database, we can't access anything. Backups, they're not visible either. I sat down at his computer. I had known this system for 30 years, every detail. I understood what it was at first glance. Jessica, I said, what update did you do yesterday? Update? I just changed some settings for cloud migration. We installed advanced security protocols. What protocols? The latest, the most secure. Automatic failover, enhanced encryption. Oh, right. Enhanced encryption. I had set up these systems. I knew every detail. And this young, knowledgeable Jessica had completely locked down the system, calling it the most secure protocols. Jessica, I said, do you understand how this system works? Of course I understand, he said. but the disbelief in his voice was obvious. Then tell me, how is the synchronization between the primary database and the secondary database achieved? He looked at me blankly. How does the failover protocol work? Silence again. Where is the location of the backup system? Jessica, I said. You don't know anything about these systems. You only know how to drive late model cars. But you have no idea how an engine works. Michael stepped forward. Robert, now is not the time to play the blame game. Can you fix the system? I can fix it, I said. But first I need to find the backup location. Where is the documentation? You wrote everything in the documentation, Michael said. But we don't know where they are. Of course they didn't know. I had 30 years of systematic documentation. Every system, every procedure, every emergency protocol. But I had kept them in an archived filing system. In physical files in folders. With a method they belittled as old school. Documentation is in the basement, I said. Archive room. But you don't want to go down there. It's a very old school place. Robert, please, Michael said. Whatever. Let's do it if we have to. We went down to the basement. Michael, Jessica, and I. The archive room was 30 years of organized chaos. Hundreds of files, folders, each carefully labeled and categorized. Wow, Jessica said. What are these? This is documentation, I said. Every system installation, every backup procedure, every emergency protocol. 30 years of knowledge. Michael looked around. These are so organized. Of course it's organized. I'm a professional. I found the files I needed. Morrison Industries system setup documentation, backup locations, recovery procedures. Everything was there, clearly written. Here, I said, pointing to the files. All of Morrison Industries systems are here. Primary server, secondary backup, tertiary backup. I had set up a 3-level backup system. Tertiary backup? Jessica said. I can only see the primary in the system. Because you're only looking at the surface, I said. You need to understand deep system architecture. And for that you need to read the documentation. We went upstairs. I worked with the files. I spent 2 hours messing with the system. First I fixed the enhanced encryption settings that Jessica had messed with. Then I activated the backup systems. Finally, I recovered all of Morrison Industries' data. At 2 o'clock, everything was working normally. Michael and Jessica were watching me with amazed expressions. How did you do that? Di sorted Jessica. 30 years of experience, I said. And proper documentation. You actually disabled all backup systems with the upgrades you made yesterday. If you had read the documentation, you would have known this was happening. I didn't know, Jessica said, embarrassed. You didn't know because you only focus on the newest trends. But technology trends come and go. Fundamentals stay. Michael came forward. Robert, this performance is incredible. You really... What am I really, Michael? You're much better at these things than we are. About these things? Michael, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been networking since before Jessica was born. Robert, Michael said, I want to make you a proposition. You mean consultation? We already have an agreement. No, I'm talking about the permanent position. Senior IT Director. Above Jessica. I looked at Jessica. Her face was bright red. Senior IT Director, I said. Interesting. 3 days ago, I was someone who couldn't keep up with technology. Now I'm a director? Robert, I made a mistake, Michael said. Big mistake. Firing you was my biggest mistake. Was it the biggest mistake, Michael? Or is that just because the systems crashed? Ben, Michael, let me tell you something. When I came here this morning, I didn't come to save you. If I hadn't, you would have lost Morrison Industries. A $50 million contract would have gone. Other customers would have gone too, because you sacrificed real expertise in digital transformation. You're right, said Michael. Completely right. And Jessica, I said, turning to her, you are a very smart girl, well educated, but wisdom comes with experience. You tried to give me a lesson on advanced systems 3 days ago, but you didn't even know how those advanced systems worked. Jessica bowed her head. You're right, Robert. I'm sorry. Sorry not enough, Jessica. You were condescending to me. I was a dinosaur, and you were the representative of the future. But today the representative of the future called me crying. The room went silent. Michael and Jessica looked at me in shame. Now, I said, what was the offer? Senior IT Director, Michael said. $150K base salary plus bonuses. As Jessica's supervisor. $150K. Double my old salary. Tempting, I said. But no. Michael was surprised. No, Michael, I don't want to work here anymore. I gave this company 30 years, and you threw me away like a throwaway in one day. Now you want me back because the systems are down. Robert, please. But I'll do consultation work, I said. $1,500 a day. Minimum 3 days a week. And I'll give Jessica proper training. Real training. I'll teach her how to read documentation, how to understand systems. $1,500, said Michael. That's what real expertise costs, Michael. What do you pay Jessica per year? 80K? 90K? I'll come in 3 days a month and make her a proper IT specialist. Or you can find another expert. Michael looked at Jessica, then at me. Okay, he said. $1,500. 3 days a week. Great, I said. But I have conditions. More conditions? Jessica is going to apologize publicly, in front of the whole team, about how she treated me and how wrong she was. Robert, Jessica said. And Michael, you'll apologize too, at the entire company meeting, about how you unfairly fired a loyal employee of 30 years. Michael's face tightened. Robert, that's asking a lot. Michael, you asked for a lot from me. 30 years of loyalty, dedication, expertise. And in return you dismissed me as a dinosaur. Now it's your turn. There was a long silence. Michael thought. Jessica stood uncomfortable. Okay, Michael finally said. I'll apologize tomorrow at the all-hands meeting. VE Jessica? Me too, Jessica said, giving in. I'll apologize at the team meeting. Perfect, I said. I'll start on Monday then. And Michael? Yes. From now on, you will not judge anyone by experience and age, because real expertise comes with age, not with a diploma. When I returned home that evening, Linda was in the kitchen preparing dinner. How did it go? He asked. Excellent, I said. I'll get $1,500 a day, working 3 days a week. $1,500? That's your old salary. Double. Plus, Jessica and Michael will be making public apologies. Linda Gulamsidi. I'm proud of you, Robert. I'm proud of myself too, I said. 30 years of experience finally recognized. When I went to the office on Monday morning, the atmosphere had changed completely. When Dave saw me in the lobby, he said, "Welcome back, sir." Sir. That was the first time he had said that. At the team meeting, Jessica stood up. "Friends," he said, "I made a big mistake last week. I treated Robert unfairly and underestimated his expertise. Robert, I publicly apologize. You are the most valuable member of this department, and I will learn a lot from you. There was applause. My teammates were smiling at me. The people I had worked with for 30 years were happy that my value was finally recognized. At the afternoon all-hands meeting, Michael took the podium. "Team," he said, "last week I made a huge mistake as CEO. I unfairly dismissed Robert Martinez, a loyal, expert employee of 30 years. I committed age discrimination and undervalued his incredible expertise. Robert, I apologize publicly. You are the backbone of this company." Standing ovation in the hall of 300 people. After 30 years, finally recognition. It's been 6 months. Jessica is now my mentee. She learns new things every day: how to do proper documentation, how to understand system architecture, how to do real-time troubleshooting. She doesn't say advanced systems anymore. She says Robert systems. Michael has changed too. He now uses the phrase digital transformation less and shows more respect for experience. When hiring a new IT staff for the company, he always asks for my opinion. And me? I work 3 days a week and earn twice my old full-time salary. The rest of the days Linda and I travel, spend time with our grandchildren, and focus on my hobbies. Last week, Tom Bradley, the CEO of Morrison Industries, visited the company. When he saw me, he shouted, "Robert, we would have lost the $50 million deal without you. This company owes you everything. Everything owes me, Tom. But most importantly, they now respect me." That day, Jessica came to me. "Robert," he said, "can I ask you a question?" "Hello, Jessica. You forgave us? I mean, really?" I thought. "Jessica, I forgave you because to make mistakes is human. But what's important is to learn from your mistakes. You learned. Michael learned too. So I forgave you. Thank you, Robert. You are my best mentor." V.E. Jessica? Yes. Never forget. Technology comes and goes. Trends change. But real expertise and experience, they never become obsolete. Understood, Robert. Completely understood. As I was driving home that evening, I thought, I was a loyal employee for 30 years. I never missed a single day of work. And in one day I became a dinosaur. But real dinosaurs become extinct. I did not become extinct. I evolved. And now I am back stronger, more valuable, more respected than my previous position. Michael had something to say that day. Age is just a number, Robert. Experience is everything. Experience is everything. Finally, now when young graduates start working in companies, the first thing I tell them is, you can learn technology, you can follow trends, but wisdom comes with experience. And real expertise only comes with years of dedication. The moral of this story is this: there may be people who dismiss you because of your age, experience, style. But real value never disappears. And sometimes, when they need it most, your value emerges. I was fired after 30 years. But 3 days later, they called me back. Because some things can't be replaced. Experience is one of them. And now, every morning when I go to work, just 3 days a week, I smile. Because I know I am irreplaceable. After 30 years, finally, it was recognized.